Hi, this is Michael McQueen on the eve of my new book hitting stores, How to Prepare Now for What's Next. I thought I'd take the opportunity to give you a sense of what's in the book, where it focuses, and perhaps why it might be a useful book for you to check out for yourself. Now, this is book number 6 for me, but I've got to say, of all the books I've written, this is the most fascinating one to have written because it's all about the future. It's all about looking at what's going to shape the next 5 to 10 years. And I've spent 14 years now studying trends, technological trends, demographic trends, societal or business trends. This book draws together so much of that research, but looks at the things that are going to be game changers that for most leaders right now, I've got to tell you, they're not on the radar. They're the things that people are so focused on, the immediate and the urgent, they're not paying enough attention to. And I spoke at a conference recently. Gary Hamel was the other keynote speaker. He's a professor at the London Business School. And something he said stuck with me. He said, it is impossible to outrun the future if you don't see it coming. And that's the focus of this book. I want to give you a sense of what's coming. The first half of the book looks at the 4 key disruptions that are going to shape the next decade, regardless of the industry or the role that you're in. First form of disruption we look at is in the influence of wide-scale automation. We hear about the rise of the robots, influence of artificial intelligence. What I look into in that chapter is how this is going to play out. What does it mean to talk about artificial intelligence, machine learning, deep learning, digital image recognition? But rather than just understanding the technology, what's the impact of this technology on professions ranging from accounting to law, to the retail sector, to the automotive sector? Now that's an interesting one. It's a big section in the book looking at the influence of driverless cars. Once our cars become driven by algorithms, what does that mean for a whole raft of industries? And it's a fascinating insight, in fact, into what is coming next. So it's not just about automation, though. The second form of disruption I look at is about the influence of the empowered consumer. The reality is, in the days to come, in the years to come, the consumer will hold the power. They've got more information, more options, more of a voice than ever before. In this new environment, how do you make sure you're staying relevant to consumers and engaging in your marketplace in a way that will serve them and not leave you alienated by them or at the mercy of their views and their voice? The third form of disruption is in the form of the unconventional competition. This is a key one. In fact, I find working with clients, this is the one most people aren't paying anywhere near enough attention to, because the reality is the key disruptive threats that will impact you in the coming few years, regardless of the industry you're in, will be in forms that you're not looking for right now, not even expecting. In fact, my challenge to clients is if you want to understand disruption, don't reach for the long range lens, don't look at the horizon, you need to reach for the wide angle lens. What's at the periphery? Because those unconventional competitors are going to be the ones that have the potential to catch you off guard if you're not careful. And so I look at some of the forms of unconventional competition we're already seeing come into play and look at some of the ones that are on the way. The fourth and final form of disruption is, I guess, a sort of fun one for me because it sees a return to where I started my research career back in 2004, and that's a look at the disruptive impact of the emerging generation of consumers, particularly that millennial cohort. Now that they're all grown up, the reality is this is a generation that no business, no organization, no industry can afford to ignore. They are cashed up, but they're buying different things in different ways for different reasons. And we look at the disruptive impact of this emerging generation and how to bridge the gap. Now, as the title suggests, this book is not just about what's next, it's not just about the future and what the 4 forms of disruption will be. It's about the bearing the future will have on what you're doing today and tomorrow. What are the implications of the future? And if there's, I guess, one criticism of futurists, for want of a better label, it's that we often talk about the future and stop there. This book doesn't. The whole focus of this book is what are the strategies required? What's the mindset necessary? How do you build a culture that is agile and future fit, or at least future ready? And so I give a range of strategies, regardless of the industry or the context you're in, to help you gear up for what is coming next. And there's some very practical things to challenge leaders and organizations to look at themselves, look at systems and processes. And I guess I ask the question is, has what worked in the past and what we're doing today, is it going to serve us well in the future? And if not, how do we need to start changing now? How do you dig the well before you get thirsty? How do you reinvent yourself before these changes force you to? My commitment is you'll finish the book and you'll have a really clear game plan for what lies ahead, not just understanding what's coming, but also how to start getting ready for it now. It's a great quote I finished the book with. It's one of my favorite quotes right now. What I love about this quote is it's 2,600 years old, but it's more relevant today than ever before. And it's from the great Chinese philosopher Lao Tzu. And Lao Tzu said this. He said, resisting change is like trying to hold your breath. Even if you're successful, it's not going to end well. And so my encouragement is, for any of us in business, we can't resist the future, we can't ignore it. Our only option is to embrace it, to anticipate it, and start getting ready for it now. So feel free to check out the book. There's a whole lot of useful stuff in here. Apart from the case studies, there's actually a diagnostic that'll help you figure out right now, give you a score as to how vulnerable to disruption you are. So feel free to check that out. But I do hope you find the book useful. You'll see a link at the end of this video to go on and order the book from our website, or feel free to jump onto Amazon, or you visit your local bookstore. And I hope you find the book as interesting to read as it was to write, and I hope you find it valuable.